There's many different reasons why businesses, especially service-based businesses, don't like to talk about cost and price. Now, none of them hold up or have any weight when you actually look at this logically and you understand psychology and today's buyer. So the three main reasons why businesses don't like to talk about cost and price. Number one, we say every job is different. It depends. It's a very customized solution, right? That's number one. Well, that's very easy to explain, and it's actually essential to explain that one. And the reason why it's essential to explain that one is because if you do not explain the factors that drive cost up in your industry, that keep costs down, why some companies are expensive, why some companies are so cheap, what you're actually allowing is ignorance to exist in the marketplace. In other words, people don't understand why things cost what they cost. That leads to a phenomena that we call commoditization. So you want to commoditize an industry, allow buyers to remain in a state of ignorance as to why some companies are cheap, why some are expensive, what drives cost. So that's the first reason they say they can't talk about it, is they say every job is different, it depends. But explaining why it depends is easy to do and it's essential to do. The second reason why we don't like to talk about cost and price is we say things like, well, we tend to be more expensive, and if we're more expensive, we might scare them away. That's actually not true at all. What all the studies have found is what scares us away is when they aren't willing to talk about cost and price. Now, I don't know how it is in France, but let me tell you how it is here in the US. Let's say you wanted to go to a restaurant. Lots of times when people go to a restaurant beforehand, they'll go to an app called Yelp or something of that nature where they can review the restaurant beforehand. And almost every single person in that process is going to go to the menu. When they go to the menu, one of the things that everybody's looking for is they want to get a feel for the pricing. Now, here's the studies we've done these studies, and here's what we found. If somebody wants to go to a restaurant, even they were recommended to go to a restaurant, and they go and they vet the restaurant first online. They like what they see, but then suddenly they go to the menu and they don't see pricing. The majority of the time, they will not go. And it's not because they can't afford it. They can. They just don't know how much it is. And you see, the moment the restaurant left it blank on the menu, they planted a seed of doubt. And when seeds of doubt exist, inaction occurs, inertia. We stop. We don't make decisions. Seeds of doubt. It's no different than if you're looking, let's say you're on a shopping cart page online. You're ready to buy something, but as soon as you're ready to buy it, you notice there's a coupon code that you can use to buy it. Now, all of a sudden, guess what happens? Conversion rates go way down as soon as you add a coupon code. And the reason is because now you're wondering, am I not getting a good deal? And if you can't find the coupon code online, oftentimes you end up not buying. Whereas you went to that page to buy, yet when you saw a coupon code, you decided not to buy because it planted a seed of doubt. That's buyer psychology. And so what scares us is ignorance. That's why if you're more expensive, the key is you come right out and say, guess what? We're more expensive. Let's talk about why we're more expensive. So that by the end of them reading or listening to you, they're like, they're only 5% more than the average business, but yet here's all the things that they do. Value proposition, right? Here's all the things that they add. They should be 20% more based on what I'm reading here. But nobody thinks like that. So that's the second reason why I don't talk about cost and price, is because we're afraid we're going to scare them away when it's actually the opposite. The third reason why we don't talk about cost and price is we say things like, well, I'm scared my competitors are going to find out, which is about as dumb as it gets. Because if you've been in the industry for any period of time, you have a pretty good sense as to what the market charges and what your competitors charge. You might not know exactly what they charge, but you have a pretty good sense. And besides that, when was the last time your competitors paid your bills? So it's ridiculous that we would allow our competitors to stand between us and that emotion that we call trust. So those are the reasons. It depends. We don't want to scare them away, and we don't want to give it to the competition. But again, all three of them are not at all aligned with what we want as buyers. That's why the book is called, the phrase is called, the philosophy is called, the framework is called, they ask, you answer. They being the buyer. And which, by the way, what's funny about this, Karen, is when I talk about they ask, you answer, I will oftentimes, if somebody wants to debate me on it, and they always do, and then they always end up saying, you know what, Marcus, you're totally right. Because if they consider what they themselves would want as the buyer, and that's what this is about, the golden rule. What would you want if you were in that situation? If you were the buyer in that moment, would you prefer that they were honest, transparent, that they addressed the question, that they were willing to say it like it is, to be real with you? People appreciate that. And because, again, we've gone to this school of search, we know when somebody's lying to us. We know when they're being biased. We've all felt that online, but we also know that rare occasion when the company's being real and honest, and we love that.